right, we're hanging out with Jonathan Kmita, one of the Outlaw Buckers owners. And Jonathan, I think a cool story that you were talking a little bit about at the awards the other night is that Lunatic Party, who's a 3-time Horse of the Year champion, you've decided to do some breeding with her and create lunatic babies, which I think is kind of cool. Tell me a little bit about how you go into the process of deciding that and figuring out who you breed her with.
Well, we knew that she was starting, like she was already 10 years old, so we figured we better start breeding her pretty soon before she gets too old. Because I mean, in horse years, she's almost like a 40-year-old lady trying to have kids. So we really wanted to get her bred to something, and you know, now of course bloodlines, and then as good a horse as she's been, and she comes from strong bloodlines. So then we started talking with the guys from Calgary, and they were really interested in doing something with us. So we got the breeding rights for Grated Coconut. So then we took and bred her to Grated Coconut, and then we flushed the embryo out and replaced it in a resit mare. And we ended up doing that twice. So Calgary gets one, we get one. So we're hoping to have some lunatic babies on the ground next summer, and so we're pretty excited about that.
Now, for people who don't maybe know the process as much and they see Lunatic bucking at this year's CFR, the neat thing about the story, I think, is that there's a surrogate mom who carries the eggs and will have the baby, and I think that's kind of interesting. How can you go that route?
Well, then you don't take her out of the bucking string, and that's you know, a key thing is like when they're pregnant, then you know you don't want to jeopardize the colt or anything and have them buck, you know, especially later in her pregnancy. But anytime, you know, it's just, you know, it's like any other pregnant, you know, female or whatever, that you got to really watch what you do with them, and you know, control their exercise and their eating. And so it's just one way to reproduce her without taking her out of bucking, you know, because their careers are short, you know, they're, you know, they get 10, 15 years out of them, you know, and that's what kind of the whole reason for it.
Now, when it comes to the fact that you teamed up with, you know, the Calgary Stampede and doing it where you kind of partner two great stock together, what's the hope behind that? Is that those two bloodlines are going to create the next great
like
buckers?
you take Grated Coconut, a 6-time world champion bucking horse, and you take Lunatic, who's a 3-time Canadian champion, and you try to meet champion with champion, and hopefully create future champions. And you know, when you look at bloodlines, and you know, in the racehorse industry or quarter horse industry, it's all breeding champions with champions and trying to create more champions.
Now, has that process gone into fruition? Like, is the surrogate mother currently carrying?
Yeah, both mares were brake checked a couple weeks ago, and they're both pregnant. So far so good.
So far you're happy, Grandpa.
Yeah, that's right.
Grandpa to be. All right. So how long, I guess, for people too who don't know, you know, much about horses, if there's someone like that watching, what's the duration of the pregnancy and when
11
you
months.
Yeah.
It's
a little bit longer than an adult person comparatively.
Yeah.
So 11 months from now, we hope to see baby lunatics.
Yep.
Which sounds great. Awesome, Jonathan. Thank you for sharing with us today.
Thanks for having me.